evening, you're watching NewsX. I'm Madhadas Gopalakrishnan. Now, a day after the AFPAK Moab, India's mega master plan decoded. US NSA is expected to travel to Delhi after AFPAK visit. NewsX brings you exclusive details of what will top the agenda in this meeting. The role of ISIS in Afghanistan and Pakistan are to top the agenda. India will also provide information on Pakistan's linkages to terror, and India will also counter Pakistan's fabrications on Kulbhushan Jadhav. The big picture is only on NewsX. Now, Congress insists on exposing Pak from inside. That's the breaking development on the story. Let's listen in.
The US or anybody else to do the heavy lifting would be absolutely erroneous. What the government of India needs to really concentrate upon is mobilizing those sections of the Pakistani society, and there are a substantive number of people out there who believe that this death sentence is wrong, try and build up public opinion within Pakistan and internationally in order to see that Kulbhushan Jadhav is brought home.
Ashish is with us for more on the story. Ashish, clearly as far as the McMaster visit is concerned, clearly the political pressure is building on the government. Will USA be the bulwark that India uses to counter Pakistan?
One thing that the Indian government, specifically the Ministry of External Affairs, has been preparing for at least quite some time. Now, USA NSA's visit, specifically after the Pakistan-Afghan visit, is going to be a key one because I am told that the Indian government would be preparing an entire dossier that would be provided to the USA's National Security Advisor. Also, specifically with the ISIS and terror links, Kulbhushan Jadhav is one angle that has just been added in the last few days as far as the entire dossier that would be given to USA NSA from the Indian government side. So that these are going to be the primary focus for Indian government as far as the USA NSA's visit is concerned. The primary focus of the entire dossier for last few months have always been the terror links of Pakistan, how the ISI, army and a certain section of Pakistan government have been giving a huge platform for the terror funding and launchpad for terrorists, at least as far as the POK and the infiltration is concerned. So that is going to be the primary focus of the Indian government. Another addition that has been made is the ISI link. The way Pakistani agencies have been both officially and unofficially have been trying to recruit Indians as far as the entire ISI network is concerned. That is something going to be the second focus. And Kulbhushan Jadhav's chapter has been just added in the last 3-4 days to ensure that the pressure is mounted on Pakistan through at least USA.
Let's also go across to Geeta Mohan, who's with us. Geeta, clearly, of course, this visit is going to be very crucial. Now, this comes in the wake of the Indian NSA and Foreign Secretary's visits to the United States. Clearly, a lot that India's expectations are from the USA, particularly in the context of terror and Pakistan. From the USA, particularly in the context of terror and Pakistan.
Well, that's right. The United States of America's National Security Advisor's visit to India is going to be significant because it comes at a time that USA bombed an area in Afghanistan to take on the ISIS. Comes at a time when he is also going to go visit Pakistan and talk about the issue of terrorism. This even as Madhav, the State Department of spokesperson Mark Turner has called out Pakistan on the issue of fight against terrorism, saying that they did not inform Pakistan about the bombing only because there are still safe havens within Pakistan, and the Pakistani establishment has not really been sincere in this fight against terrorism that absolutely exposes Pakistan. While we are also given to understand that Pakistan is preparing a dossier of sorts on Kulbhushan Jadhav to hand over to the National Security Advisor of America. America is not going to be befooled by Pakistan's antics. The meeting that will take place and his final leg of this entire visit is going to be the visit to India. And when that meeting takes place in India, there is going to be enough evidence that India has gathered and will be providing to the NSA of the new Trump administration on Pakistan's involvement as a state with terror networks that work not just against interests of the United States of America and the AFPAC region and Afghanistan, but particularly those who work against India's interests and have been wreaking havoc not just in major cities of India, but particularly in the valley. So all this information will be shared, and also details on how the Pakistani establishment picked up an innocent Indian national, took him to Pakistan, is keeping him in the Pakistani custody and not allowing consular access, and has violated all kinds of international
I'll request you to stay on with us, Geeta, as I'll request Ashish as well. Let me also go across to Rishabh Gulati, who's joining us right now from the newsroom. Rishabh, the biggest concern for India at this moment is Kulbhushan Jadhav. And as Geeta was telling us, that's likely to figure as well as far as this entire McMaster visit is concerned.
Absolutely right. This is the big picture that we're trying to put out for our viewers, Ashish, of what is happening on the global scale and how 16 years after 9/11, this AFPAC region, as the world's nub of terror, is once again on the radar after the withdrawal of US forces, is once again on the radar of the Trump administration. It's no coincidence that we saw the Moab strike take place late last night. It's no coincidence that the ISIS link from Syria now into the Pakistan border regions is being drawn. And it's certainly no coincidence that H.R. McMaster, the US general who has ground time serving in Afghanistan and Pakistan, who knows the backyard, who knows exactly what Pakistan is up to, is first going to travel to Afghanistan, take an essence of what the Afghan government is seeing happening over there. And we know what the Afghan government stands on this. They are blaming Pakistan squarely for perpetuating ISIS as well as terror in Afghanistan, then go to Pakistan and then come to India. Now this visit is going to be very big. We're expecting Narendra Modi at some time in the next few months to travel to the United States. This is going to have to be a big reaffirmation ahead of that trip, because NSA Doval has already been to Washington. We saw the Foreign Secretary Jay Shankar go to Washington. He's been there twice since Trump got elected, trying to set up and reaffirm the US ties and get the radar that the war on ISIS, the war on terror, has to equate a war on Pakistani-backed terror. And this is the information that we put together that is going to correlate, and which is why this visit expected sometime soon. There's no date that has been informed to us yet, but expected sometime soon, maybe next week, maybe the week after, when the US NSA now, the man who knows his stuff, is going to come. He's going to meet Narendra Modi, he's going to meet Sushma Swaraj, he's going to meet the defense minister, and he's going to meet NSA Doval. And India will have to highlight the importance, which the United States knows, of now putting all these terrorist organizations into one basket. It's not just about targeting Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the Haqqani network and the ISIS agents and the Talibani and Al-Qaeda agents operating there, but no, just a few kilometers to the east, the Hafiz Saids, the Masood Azhars of the world are all part of that very same network, Madhav. And this visit, which is going to reaffirm those ties, send out the signaling, operationalize India-US defense agreements, especially when it comes to technology transfer to India, is going to be crucial, perhaps historic, when it comes to pivot in the war on terror.
Well, absolutely, and that's really where things are very significant, aren't they? Because clearly at some level, or let me also go across to our guest who's joining us, Lieutenant General Shakar Prasad is also with us. If I can come to you, General, how do you look at this particular visit of the US NSA? Clearly at some level or the other, it will be very significant. This will be the first visit by a high-ranking official from the United States. And how much of these concerns do you think US will be in a position to accept and act on? Not just terror, but also Kulbhushan Jadhav.
Let's be very clear on one simple fact. The American National Security Advisor, General McMaster, is not coming here for the sake of India. He is coming here to promote his own United States interest. Now, what is the primary issue? He is coming here to stabilize or to see the stabilization in Afghanistan and to prevent resurgence of Taliban and to prevent the further activation of the ISIS, which is on the borders, which is operating on the borders with Pakistan. So the primary objective to visit Afghanistan and Pakistan is to take an assessment of what the situation like that is of ISIS there and of Taliban there. And in this context, he will make an assessment of what is the outcome of the Russia, China, Pakistan, Iran supporting Taliban with fresh weapons and strategic support, and how is it going to impact on the future of Afghanistan. Because America today still has 9,000 troops there. So that is the primary concern of the NSA of America. Does he need to have more troops sent there? How is he going to handle Afghanistan? And you've just seen yesterday they have dropped a 21,000 bomb, the heaviest bomb the world has got today, the mother of all bombs, except it's not a nuclear device, and 36 people have been killed there, destroying a tunnel. So the primary focus of this visit to this region is to assess the status of Taliban, status of ISIS in Afghanistan, how to prevent them from further developing, and the nexus that is coming up between Russia, China, Pakistan and Iran in supporting Taliban, and to see how to increase or not to increase the 9,000 figure of troops in Afghanistan. That is one part. The second part in India is to carry out a reassessment of the defense trade and technology tie-up which was done when Obama was the president. If you recall, not much has happened ever since Obama left the treaty, and nothing much has happened. We were to get a number of equipments, C-130, Javelin shoulder-fired missiles. We were to get pathfinders. We were to get some hot technology. Now, all of that has not even started, and we are looking at Make in India, and therefore I see a bigger project coming out, which will be the massive portion of the discussion to see how this can be carried forward. Now, along with this, there are 2 or 3 other points that must be on the table. Firstly, I think we must impress upon the NSA of USA that what they're dealing with in Pakistan is actually not a democracy. It's a shame of a democracy. In actual fact, Pakistan is today under martial law, and that can be, we can illustrate it with an example of Kulbhushan Yadav. No country, no democracy has martial law.
All right, I request you to stay on with us, General. We have a bit of breaking news coming in. I'll come right back to you as soon as we break this news. And as NewsX decodes the Modi-McMaster plan, defense experts say that coordination with the US is necessary to dismember Pak-sponsored terrorism. Let's take a listen.
The visit primarily is to coordinate with India the India-US stance in as far as Afghanistan is concerned in the meeting, so that Pakistan-sponsored Taliban government is not established in Afghanistan, which is inimical not only to India, as also to the presence of US in that particular region.
Right, and let me go back to my colleagues who are joining us once again. In fact, Ashish continues to be with us. Ashish, clearly, of course, while the focus of the US NSA's trip here will be more defense cooperation and perhaps provision of more, defense equipments, clearly India will also use this opportunity to impress upon its own concerns vis-a-vis terror emanating from Pakistani soil and the absolutely hostile attitude of Pakistan as far as the Kulbhushan Jadhav, episode is concerned.
See, the platform for this particular visit by the USA NSA was set a few weeks ago when Indian NSA Ajit Doval had gone there to discuss the Pakistan and ISIS issues. Now, this is something which has been in the pipeline for quite some time, that the USA NSA's visit in India, basically to highlight the defense manufacturing and the defense technology transfer aspect, and the second is the terror angle. These are the 2 main points that I was told that when the Indian NSA Ajit Doval had visited These are the 2 points that were discussed. Now, LIMOA is one, basically the agreement between the Indian and the US government, which enables each other to use each other's platform in case of any natural calamity or any force replenishment and maintenance work. That has played the crucial role as far as the defense cooperation between two countries are concerned, and I'm told that the USA NSA is trying to take it to a step higher. In order to do that, the Indian government is going to put a lot of proposals, requests to ensure that the defense cooperation, the manufacturing aspect and the technology transfer can only be taken to a further step, a step higher only after the terror talk is done on Pakistan. USA is one country which has given a lot of platform to Pakistan until 2010, and that's the reason why US have a lot of control over the Pakistani government, ISI and the army as well. So that is something is going to be the key focus, and specifically after President Donald Trump coming in the power, that point of time the earlier regime had little different approach and the agenda until Donald Trump became the president of USA. So this visit by the USA NSA is going to have, will be starting rather a new chain of talks and the issues in a fresh manner. Madhav?
Well, absolutely. But Geeta, if I can come to you as well, you know, when we look at the focus as far as this particular visit is concerned, clearly at some level or the other, you know, India would want to raise the concerns about Pakistan government and its own approach, you know, the entire violation of the Geneva Convention and various other international conventions as far as Kulbhushan Jadhav is concerned. India, we do know, has the option of already internationalizing it, taking it up at various international fora. How do you think the US would react to this sort of an approach as far as India is concerned? Because the primary focus for US is going to be quite different from India's own concerns.
Well, the thing is this, with the Trump administration, Madhav, there is a bit of a focus that has changed from only looking at what US's interest in Afghanistan is going to be to how United States of America can benefit and play a larger role in terms of influence. So yes, like many experts are saying, that US would want to see what they gain out of the entire engagement that National Security Advisor of the Trump administration, McMaster, is going to have with Afghanistan, with Pakistan and with India. But also remember, there are a lot of pressure tactics that the US and a lot of influence that while US wields on Pakistan, US certainly has not managed to change Pakistan's India policy in the past. I won't be surprised if it does not happen anytime soon. Even now, the only difference is this, that it is not just the United States of America, but the recent Financial Action Task Force's report, which forces Pakistan to take action against Jamaat-ud-Dawa and Falah-e-Insaniyat, is the reason why we saw some movement on Pakistan's end to show that they are working against terrorists that work against Indian interests as well. Having said that, United States of America at this point in time, with all the engagement that we have seen, considers India as an important partner. Donald Trump, the President of America, is waiting and looks forward to meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is the leverage that India is going to use when it comes to those organizations that work against India. Look at the policy, Madhav. Nothing has changed in terms of the statements that have come from the State Department. So there is no policy shift when it comes to Pakistan's intent in fighting terror, and how US continues to question Pakistan's intent and shows the kind of distrust US has on Pakistan when it comes to informing them of a bombing in the AFPAC region because they do know that the safe havens exist within Pakistan. And hence, this is our leverage, and India is going to wield that leverage very well when the meetings take place. After McMaster would have met with the Pakistani counterpart, he's going to come here. There has been no conversation between Janju and Doval in the recent past. So things are at its lowest when it comes to Indo-Pak. And for India, the primary focus is going to be Kulbhushan Jadhav. We'll have to see what we can offer to the United States of America for US to ensure that they yield enough pressure on Pakistan, Madhav.
Right, absolutely. But it won't be very easy. Let me also go across to Jen Prasad, who's still with us. How do you look at, what India can perhaps do to ensure that the United States acts as far as the Kulbhushan Jadhav case is concerned? As you were mentioning earlier, that's obviously not going to be top of the priority as far as US is concerned. But considering it's a massive issue back home here in India, and virtually, the kind of political support that the government has on this issue, cutting across party lines, the fact that it's such an emotive issue, obviously India would want to raise this as well. How do you think India should go about this and will go about this, General?
See, we must understand that while America will have its own agenda, and that's always been so, as far as Kulbhushan Jadhav is concerned, we're going to work out our own plan. Having said that, let me say that we should now use this opportunity of the American NSA being here, basically for something else, to say that at one point in time we heard from America that they're prepared to mediate between India and Pakistan. The mediation is not acceptable to India, very clearly stated by all our political leaders and the government as far as Kashmir is concerned. Yes, we can have some mediation between India and Pakistan and through American good offices on terrorism. Simply on terrorism. We must impress upon the American NSA that if you wish to help, please tell Pakistan to stop fomenting terrorism to Kashmir. Please tell them that this is not going to be accepted by India any longer, and India has the right to respond to it the way and manner in which it likes. That may not be very good for Pakistan. As far as Kulbhushan Jadhav is concerned, we have to impress upon him that Pakistan is no longer a democracy. It's a martial law. And
Absolutely.
therefore, you're dealing with a martial law administration.
Absolutely.
And you must understand that it is the military in Pakistan calls the shot, and therefore Kulbhushan Jadhav could be used to see and to substantiate the argument that we have a martial law there. Therefore, Americans must intervene and prevent this martial law to become further active in Pakistan. Democracy must be permitted to flourish, which is something that he can do, but I don't really see much in it. Yes, there will be definitely there will be talk about Kulbhushan Jadhav. India will definitely ask him to do whatever he can do.
Lieutenant Prasad, in fact, let me just ask you to hold on to your thoughts there, sir. We have some more